Hi.
Hello.
I've been so excited about this. Um,
So cool.
take two.
Take two. Yes.
How are you, my dear?
Good, good. How are you?
Very good.
Yay. Did you work out the Facebook Live? Because we tried to do it the other day and we couldn't actually do it.
Oh no.
Get out from Zoom?
Well, I have done it several times before with no problem. So I wonder if it was just a glitchy thing.
Oh, on that day. You haven't done it since?
I actually haven't.
All right, we'll see how we go. Because
Now I'm nervous.
it might be fine, but we tried it on, we tried to do it, Corin and I, on Sister Trio, and we just could not get it working.
Okay, well let me God.
But in the
I am
past, we could get it working, but it would cut off at 4 minutes.
oh.
Yeah, but you haven't had that, eh? You've had it.
No, I've done several hour-long interviews.
Yeah, so it should be fine. Hopefully it
Okay,
won't glitch.
well, let's have a go and see. I'm
Okay.
just going to make sure I've got everything closed. Yeah, I think I do. I've just got Facebook open. Okay. Um, fingers crossed. Live on Facebook. Here we go. I'll let you know when I push the go live.
Okay.
Are you ready? Are you prepared?
I think so.
Oh, cool. As in, I mean, I know you're prepared, but
As in, got my hair going the right way. Yeah, no.
yeah. Share in a group. Ultimate Coaching Club. Next. Says preparing live streaming preview.
That is sounding promising.
And it's wiggling and it's connecting your live stream to the live APB, fetching the live stream. This can take a few seconds. We got this far last time, didn't we?
I think so.
Oh. It's saying it's doing that same thing.
Damn.
Oh no. Do you know what we could do?
Yeah.
Is I'm just going to push go live and see what happens.
Okay.
Um,
I guess
because I
we could just record it and then upload it.
well, I was going to say if this doesn't work, let's just do a Zoom conversation.
Yeah.
I'll just try push go live and see what happens. And if it goes live, that's great. We'll go into it.
Yeah.
And if not, we'll do a Zoom, and then I can download that and
Upload it as a video.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, push and go live. Setting up your meeting for Facebook Live.
It does say live on Facebook on my screen.
Oh, well, it says it's live.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing live on my.
Can you see it on your? I'm just going to go. Hi, everyone. We are just making sure, because we're just struggling to see if we are live. I am just checking on my phone.
I can
to
see it live
see that
online.
it. You can.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not on mine, but oh yes, here we go. Lovely. Okay. Yay. Welcome, Jennie. Finally. I'd like to introduce you all to Jennie Jackson, the adaptive yogi, who this is our second attempt at this, and I'm so excited it's working because I know this is going to be a fabulous hour. I can't wait to hear everything about your life and about you, and for everyone else to hear that. So I want to start with the question I always ask people in this interview series here in the Body Confidence Coaching Club, and that is, what was a typical family mealtime like for you growing up?
Ooh, it was fun. I've got 3 siblings, so there was loads of
3
shenanigans.
sisters, isn't it? Is it 3 sisters or?
2 sisters, so there's 3 girls and one brother.
Okay, so 4 of you.
Yes. Yeah, 4 of us. And so there was always lots of shenanigans and fun. I sort of do remember having to sit at the table and finish.
Yep,
I remember,
very typical.
yeah, that was a thing in the 70s and 80s.
Yes.
Otherwise, it was a bonding, nice time, family time, when we were all together and talking and laughing, and I have fond memories of it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so beautiful. And can you describe for us, at your family meals, was there any sort of talk about what you should eat or you shouldn't eat, or people being on diets or any of that stuff? Or was that really void from your life?
The diet part was definitely void,
Yep.
which is great.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I think there was the general sense of eat your vegetables,
Yep.
going
Was
on.
it a eat your vegetables and don't get pudding scenario?
Oh, actually, we didn't really have pudding that often.
Yep.
Not really, not that I can remember, maybe, but it's not sort of deep in my consciousness.
Yep.
But it was certainly, sometimes I do recall painfully sitting at the table and having to get going.
Finish those last
Yeah,
bites of
yeah,
XYZ
yeah,
to
yeah,
to complete the
yeah.
yeah.
And I
Yep.
also
Oh,
remember it being a bit of a competition because there was 4 of us and we're all pretty active and robust, grabbing seconds and things like that. So I kind of remember that being half fun but half like a competition to,
but right. Like don't miss out on the good stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So did you have your family set up so that was the family table set up so that you could all just dish yourself, or were you given a portion that
I think
was?
I think that came in the latter years, the help yourself, but I do remember the earlier years of being dished up. And
Yeah.
I remember us kids just being awful to mum, saying, no, gates closed when the peas come along, things like that. Gates were open, gates closed. I'm not sure that worked, but we're just funny with gates are closed things. So um, must have been served in the early years, but then sort of more teens, it was help yourself type
That
thing.
was right, right. Gotcha. And then how did your relationship to meal times kind of progress as you grew older?
Yeah, it's always been an enjoyable time, something I look forward to, something I get
Awesome.
excited about. Yeah, I feel quite lucky in that sense. There was never any pressure or sort of shame built around meal times from my family. I think
That's so beautiful to hear.
Yeah, I think I kind of picked up on that later when I sort of went into the big wide world of society and
And
um,
talk about that. When you picked up on it, what do you mean by that? Like you sort of noticed that there was that going on out there in the world.
yeah, I think I noticed. I feel like I brought it on myself, but it was kind of there too to notice how much food I have on my plate.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you mean through messaging you heard or through things people said to you, or was it just a sense of, oh, hang on, you need to actually think about this?
Yeah, I think it was general messaging. Sometimes may have been things said to me, not that often, but general comments of people of, oh, she's got a lot, or oh,
Right.
eat all of that type thing. Or if a smaller person bought a big plate load, oh, how are you going to get all that in? All those sorts of things over the years.
Yeah. People make those sorts of comments are so pervasive, aren't they?
Yeah,
Like we have some kind of right to comment on
yeah,
what someone else is eating.
yeah,
Like
big
it's a
time.
sort of socially acceptable or
Yeah,
somehow. And
yeah.
were there any sort of particular incidents you can pull out, or was it more a general sort of sense?
Um, I've definitely got a few trigger incidences that, yeah, might be a bit traumatic to pull out. Um,
You don't have to. Seriously, you don't. You can leave it at yeah. There were some events, and we
yeah,
can.
yeah,
Yeah,
there were a few that really impacted me for sure.
yeah.
Relating to, oh, you're eating that, that's why you look like you do type thing.
Right. So people making a direct correlation between if you eat that particular thing, that's why you are like you are.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And no, I get that. And we still hear those messages
yes,
almost every day
I know,
that
yes.
that are out there that, eat this and you'll look like this, or eat this and
Mm,
you'll look like that, or
mm.
like one thing can be have any significant difference to how any of us look. It's really ridiculous when you start actually unpacking it, isn't it?
Really ridiculous. Yeah.
But so hard to actually, and did you notice, because I know for myself, there were things people said, incidents, and then they started to really internalize. So then I told myself that story. Did that happen to you, or was that,
Oh,
or could you
yeah.
really keep, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's been a journey. I'm, 50 next month and I'm getting my worthiness back around that, but it's taken such a long time to unravel and those internalized messages that,
I'm really hearing you, how long that and how, and I don't know about for you, but for me, how uncommon it is to meet people who really get that,
yes,
who really, like who actually go,
correct.
yeah, I'm doing the work of unraveling
Mm,
those messages and of saying, no, there's not something wrong with me. There's something wrong with that.
absolutely. That's why I was so excited when I saw your work. It's like, yeah,
Thank you, Jenny. I know we're so in tune so quickly. It was so beautiful to meet you and
yeah,
to have you get it so quickly and so fully. So
awesome.
how, so did that, I'm curious to know how did you did you become a yogi straight out of kind of high school and university, or was there a path to that?
Oh, for sure, a path. It was a good 25 years ago, so it's been a long time. And um, I just slowly started practicing, and just from my first class, something just clicked inside of me, like, wow, what just happened?
Wow.
Yeah, like, whoa, that was amazing, and I can't explain it in words. And I was
I've
pretty.
got goosebumps actually. I've got goosebumps
Oh,
just
awesome.
hearing that. I love it.
I do remembering it. And then it's been a real journey of ups and downs of really getting into it and then going, I want to go further, but who am I to be a yoga teacher?
Right. So that kind of imposter syndrome of yogi. And what was it, do you think? Do you have a main, was there a main part of, was there a thing that you thought you weren't able to, like?
Oh, my body shape, my body size.
Oh, right. Okay. So
Yeah,
you went, I don't look like a yogi.
yeah,
Who am I to be a yoga instructor?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so how did you, and I get that, I imagine that's super common for so many people, because it can't, like when you look at yoga instructors, I reckon if you bunched all the yoga instructors up in the world, they don't represent society, do they? They really they really have this kind of homogeneous or homogenous, however you say that word,
Yeah.
kind of look about them. And
Mm.
so I love, when I first saw you, I was like, oh yes.
Yeah.
And I know you'll know, is it Jessamine Jackson? Do you know her?
Yes, Jessamine
Um,
Stanley.
oh, sorry, you're Jennie Jackson. What am I
Yeah.
thinking? Stanley.
Yeah.
And the work, if anyone who's watching is curious about her work, she's a really, she calls herself a super fat yoga instructor,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. She's amazing.
And she is
Mm.
incredible and so
Mm.
inspiring.
Mm.
So how did you get past that internal barrier?
I think there were a few aha moments, but generally, I believe it was a very slow burn of the practice of yoga, of
Yep,
being dedicated to meditation, to mindfulness,
yep,
to observing the stories that I was believing, that
yep,
were going around in my head, and I was kind of believing them and going. And when you get that detachment, when you practice yoga and meditation and
yep.
somatic practice, you start to see how they're towing you around. And I think it was a slow burn of detaching from that and going, hang on a minute, I am more than worthy to be
Yeah,
representing yoga. Yeah. Um, and so
fantastic.
that was the main part, the slow burn, and then the real impetus that
Yes,
sparked me to go, yes, okay, I'm doing this, um, was when I found the leg device that I use due to a disability I was born with, and I was at the stage where I was using a walking stick and heading to a wheelchair, so my mobility was pretty bad, my whole
wow.
being was pretty down, and then I found this device, and it's changed my life really. That's a whole other
Wow.
story. But
Yeah.
when I got that, I got energized. Something happened inside me. I'm like, yeah, I'm going for it. So that was another sort of moment. So it's a mixture of both.
Yeah, no, I really can hear that. And I can hear that. I really love the story of how your meditation practice
Mm,
was something that really got you to observe and question, hang on, are those beliefs playing out there? Like, is that
yeah,
true? That's
yeah,
that's been a huge that's had a huge impact on me, that
yeah.
slowing down and actually just allowing those the reality to kind of go, hang on, is this real or
Mm,
is it not? And
mm,
it's definitely something I want to deepen too. I
mm.
think it's kind of it's an ever growing deepening, isn't it? I love that you never arrive with
Yes,
meditation.
yes. I know, isn't it awesome? Yeah,
Isn't it fantastic? Isn't
yeah.
it fantastic?
It's always there.
So
It's like a slow
it
awakening.
is. It is, isn't it? It really is. And
Mm.
it just continues as opposed to, right, you've done the awakening thing, right, you can get on to, which is where I, like, have I got there yet?
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as you
Um,
realize there's no there, that's awesome.
I know. You go, okay, hang on. So I want to go back. You mentioned you're born with a disability, and was that something that informed your sort of imposter syndrome as well as kind of just the general way you look, or were they two separate hurdles to jump, or was it all sort of um, wrapped up in one process, if you like?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. I think it definitely influenced it because right from the start my body was wrong. It was broken.
Yep.
And they literally broke my foot the minute I was born to straighten it. So I had really severe club feet.
Okay.
And so I was in and out of hospital. So there's a lot of trauma, early
Yep.
childhood trauma there, but also just the general message that my body was wrong and needed to be fixed
Yep.
right from word go. So that
Yep.
that's something huge to live with. And then also always being physically behind my siblings,
Yep.
peers. I could never really run properly.
Yep.
Always had that sort of handicap. Um,
Yep.
but
Yep.
look, it could have been way worse, and they did a great job, and I was mobile for quite a few years.
Yep.
So yeah, that's definitely a part of it, and then the other part I think is the mother-daughter relationship and the genetics behind not feeling worthy in your body. So I think
100% get
it's
where you're coming
combined.
from. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
I can totally see that. And I really love the actual language you use to describe that your body was wrong
mm-hmm.
and it needed fixing.
Mm.
And in some real sense, there probably was stuff that could be fixed and
Yes,
helped.
yes,
Is
that's
that
right.
correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
in some real sense. And yet,
Yeah.
um, it's exactly the same language that we use, that the health and well-being industry
Yes.
has grabbed hold of so deeply, is that there's something wrong that we can fix.
Yeah.
And
Constantly, right? Every day.
constantly every day, and we hold up this idea, and it's like, and this is, I learned this, I think, through a lot of meditation, my own personal journey of
Yeah.
going, hey, I live in this reality that there's something wrong with this body, that it needs fixing, and that one day I will arrive at
Yeah.
it fixed.
Yeah.
And life can start, and in my own personal experience, I realized there was actually nothing like I didn't have a disability or so that's an even
Mm.
bigger hurdle to
Mm.
get
Right.
to
Yeah.
go, even though there's things that maybe procedures you can have, and stuff that you can improve, it's still, you can still step away from, I'm wrong
Yeah.
and I need to wait until I'm fixed.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. So it's a very deep-seated I'm wrong because when you're born, you know,
Right from day one.
you've got the message that you're disabled, you're defected, you're handicapped, and you are factually.
Yeah, well, and it's
Yeah.
getting so moving through that really takes something, doesn't it?
Mm. Yes. Yes. It's been a big, big journey.
A big, amazing.
And that's where I'm so passionate about it, yoga, because that's absolutely been my toolbox.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And so how long had you been practicing when you started, when you got to that point and went, hey, hang on, actually, I have I have just as much ability to be an instructor as anyone else. How long had you been practicing? When did that happen?
I think sort of the overall thing was probably a good 15 plus years, so it was a long time. But in between that, I had a child, and so I was in
Yep.
and out. It certainly wasn't regular that whole 15 years.
Yep.
And went sort of different styles of yoga and went on a sort of a massive fertility journey. So that sort of all happened. So it was quite a long time though before
Yes.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And then just getting my leg device. I've got it here. I haven't got it on. That's it there.
Oh, I love it.
It's the love of my life. It's my leg. Um, Getting that gave me the new lease on life. So that was 5.5 years ago.
Oh, wow. So it was really only in your 40s
Yes.
that you got this device that has sort of enabled you so much.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow,
So it's very
I didn't
recent.
realize that. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, I know, isn't it? I seriously went for my appointment to have an elective amputation. I was just
Wow.
really in a bad way and not able to walk really, and found this, and here we go, hiking in the Himalayas for 3 weeks
I
every day.
Wow.
Oh, I know, it's a miracle.
That is more goosebumps. You're like the goosebump interview. I love it. Um,
Awesome.
so, and then from being a yoga instructor, when you first became accredited, is that what you call it?
Yeah, qualified.
Certified, qualified,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Was it? Did you immediately become the adaptive yogi? Was your focus right? I'm going to help people who need adaptations in yoga
Yeah.
to that's who I'm going to be. Is
Practice.
that
Yeah.
my practice?
Yeah, pretty sure. I remember our big closing circle at the end of the training, and everyone sort of spoke about what they were going to do with the training, and a lot of people said, "Oh, I've just done it for myself. I'm not going to teach," and a handful said, "I'm going to teach," and I remember saying, "Yeah, I'm going to take this to the world to people that don't think they can." Uh,
Fantastic.
yeah. So,
And
you know,
you just knew that from the get-go.
yeah,
That was your
yeah.
oh,
Yeah, and you know, I've been to so many yoga things now, and that training there was 18 of us, and I stuck out like dog's balls.
love it.
My body shape and my disability and my bionic leg, and so I've just gotten used to that, and I've stuck with it. But you know, sometimes that's really hard. But I've just got this really deep knowing and sense to keep going, to keep
I
going.
look, I can feel it. I can literally feel it in you. It's really,
Awesome.
even though we're on Zoom and
Yeah.
I can tell that this is really it's your thing, right? It's your
Awesome.
gift to all of us.
Yeah.
So here I hope this is okay to do this here. And we can segue away from it if you're like, no, we can't do this live. But I'm so I'm going to say something a little bit strange. Is for the last sort of I used to really love yoga, and for the last 5 years, it's this joke amongst my friends that oh, let's do a yoga class because I have started saying I hate yoga,
Yeah.
and it's because I have developed quite serious arthritis in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot put any pressure on them.
Yep.
And so
Oh, that was
no floor series.
yeah.
I can't do any floor series. And every time I go to a yoga class, well, for a few years I sort of would go, okay, I'll go to one, and because I used to really love it.
Yeah.
I'd go to one, but it was such an unpleasant experience of feeling like I was annoying to the instructor.
Ah, right. Yep.
Do you get that? And I'm sure people have said this to you before, annoying, and then feeling really like I was just left to
Yep. Your
do
own
nothing,
choices.
left to my own devices.
Yeah.
If I couldn't, and sometimes it'd be like, oh, it's 70% of the class.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
And all that sort of stuff. So speaking to you, I'm like, maybe I have let it go too soon. Like maybe I need your yoga
Yes.
to be because am I correct? Is this what you do? You go, yeah, it doesn't, you can still practice yoga in a way, you can adapt it for me so that it's,
Yep.
oh, okay.
Absolutely. And that's what I specialize in, and yoga for everybody in capital letters.
Yeah,
And so many yoga teachers say that.
yeah, yeah.
And
I
there's
get it.
stairs into their studio for starters.
Oh, sorry, what was that? Say that again.
So many yoga studios and teachers say that, but for starters, there's stairs to get up to their studios.
Yeah.
Um,
So there you go.
things like that. So definitely, absolutely, there's so much you can do. So much you can do to adapt and alternatives, and that's what how I cater for you in a class, or we work one on one. Quite often, I go one on one with people with specific things like that, and we
Yep.
work out the adaptations before as well, because there isn't always time to stop in every single part of the class,
Yeah.
especially if it's
Yeah.
slow. And we work out what they need to do, and then we tweak that, talk after class, things like that. You sort of work through it on a bit of a journey.
Yep.
There's always people in class that can't go on their knees. There's a lot of people that can't kneel, go on their knees. So
And
um,
so do you work in so do you work in a sort of in a way that I could say have a couple of sessions with you online even, and we can figure out how to, you know, um, workarounds for me personally, and
yeah,
could then I take some of those adaptations to classes where the teachers aren't so. Is that what you're saying? So once I know some of those things, I can use them myself. So you're
absolutely.
training me to
Yeah,
to figure out my own adaptations, as well as
very
being
good.
able, as well as you being there running classes that I could attend as well. Is that
Yeah,
your, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So ideally, if you're in the area, it's great to come to my classes.
of course.
But yeah, absolutely. Over Zoom, we can do that sort of thing and work it out. And then when you feel confident to go to a class and adapt, and just tell the teacher before those, teach you just go
Ah,
through the steps on that sort of thing to
so you can kind of empower me to manage my own class as well,
yeah,
because what you're so right, like I have said to teachers before classes, and I think this is why I gave up actually. I have said to teachers, I can't put any weight on my hands, like, it's just too painful, and it
yeah,
feels like it's unhelpful
yeah,
pain, as
yeah,
opposed to I'm just working through something.
yeah, yeah,
Um and I say, can you help me? And they're always like, yeah, yeah, of course, of course we
yeah.
can. But there is literally not time, or they're helping someone else,
Yeah.
and they're not stop and you're not stopping to think, actually, if there's 50% of the moves you can't do, that's too
Yeah.
much time
That's
to.
time to not be doing something. It's a whole nother level of teaching to adapt to all those.
Oh
And
yeah,
they don't teach you it on your basic 200-hour training. So you don't get taught how to do that. So that's something you need to
interesting.
specialize in, or have a real passion for it, and
Yep.
have real patience for it, and have the mental capacity to be thinking of everyone.
Yes, yeah, I
It's,
can imagine. So how have you come to it? Have you not come to it, because we know how we got here, but have you done all of those things? Have you done some specialized training and some self-teaching, and have you created your own
yeah, yeah.
um
So I think in the start, I firstly come to it because I have a disability and I've had to do it as a student.
yep.
So I've been to those classes like you, and the teacher completely ignores me,
Yep.
or they try and help, but generally ignore because they don't quite know what to do with me. Especially when I walk in with this on, they don't realise that I'm fine with this on, but everyone thinks it's an injury. Um,
Oh,
and but before I had that, I'd come in with a walking stick, and you could see them kind of panic. And I just go to them, don't worry, I know I can look
I
after,
know what I'm doing.
I can look after myself. And so I just got creative through necessity.
Right.
So I have that grounding experience, felt experience.
Yep.
And then, yes, I have done specialized training. I'm part of the Accessible Yoga organization in the States. They're huge,
Oh,
awesome. And they just had some training online, which I did. and some Adaptive Alliance people have come from the States, and I did some training with them. And I've worked with the adaptive PT, who's now functional adaptive movement. So he trains athletes, CrossFit, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've done a lot and learnt a lot through him. And then Yoga for All with Diane Bondi, who's kind of a Jessamine Stanley famous
Yep.
yogi.
Yes.
Done retreats and training with her and another kick-ass lady. So yeah, I search out all those specialised trainings for adapting, accessing, making accessible. And my next one that I'm doing, which I was supposed to be going to the States for, but I can't,
Oh, of course.
is a guy that's in a wheelchair and a yoga teacher.
Wow.
Yeah, he's awesome. So he's in a wheelchair since he was 8, and so he's become a yoga teacher, and his teachings are just profound. So you know,
Wow.
really all about that mind-body connection
Yep.
and really accessing that through the practice, and that's what all my classes focus
Are
on,
about.
that connection, and really getting that sense of feel overlook, feel overlook all the time.
So important, isn't it? Because I love you say that. I love it.
Yeah.
I really, the other thing that really stopped me going to yoga was as I got more interested in this body positivity and body acceptance and fat positivity and
Yeah.
body liberation and all those things, I really was unwilling in the end to be sitting in a class where the aesthetic potential or aesthetics was noticed or mentioned
No.
or alluded to, or I just found it so unsavory.
Nice, unsavory. Awesome.
I was just like, do you know what? I'm actually, so I went through a sort of a period of going, oh, it's not for me, but
Yeah.
whatever. And then I kind of went through like, actually, gross.
Yeah. I hear you.
Like, bleh, yuck.
Yeah. You Google yoga and the first 40 pages is blur.
Yeah,
It's
I know. And it's like, the older I get, the more in tune with my body I get, the less interested I am in having it look a certain way
yeah.
because of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the way, and I'm just so uninterested in someone who has this incredible privilege to look like the beauty ideal,
Yeah.
kind of intimate that the more I practice, the more I will look like them.
Like that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just so like,
Yeah.
like you're really not kidding me here. And
Yeah.
your games, we've got your number.
I see ya.
And it's just too boring for me. So
Oh.
because it's unsavory, not because there is all that stuff, there is all the stuff that I'm really passionately working to change, that the prejudice against bodies,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But it's now I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something really, really. Oh no! Here's what it was, because it's what you said. It is so distracting from the feel and the mindfulness. It just instantly distracts you, and I'm like, I just have no interest in that distraction either.
I know.
It's kind of a double whammy.
It's the most ironic thing that's happened, and it's the Western world has plucked one limb of yoga, which is called asana. You've probably heard that word.
Yes. Yeah.
There's 8 limbs to the yoga philosophy. They've plucked asana and taken it and gone, this is yoga. So those are your warriors and all your poses, which are all fantastic.
Yep.
It's one of 8 limbs.
Raw, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's so ironic that that's been plucked, and it's almost flipped the whole purpose of yoga about? You know, the whole
Yeah.
purpose is to go within.
Yeah.
The whole idea is union. Yoga means union, mind body connection. Um,
Right. Right. Interesting.
Never anything to do with what anything looks like, but for some reason, our society and our culture has
Yeah.
done that, and it's really a shame. But one, I like to say, one class at a time. I feel like a peaceful warrior. I'm slowly breaking that down, and there's a lot of us that are, but not enough yet to
To
change.
really cause the groundswell.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's happening. It's happening slowly. But you know, all those other limbs, I try to bring them in as much as I can to each class. So
Oh,
there's
beautiful.
the pranayama, which is the breathing.
Yep.
That's another one. There's pratyahara, which is sense withdrawal. So, you know, shutting the eyes and taking the sense of touch and hear away. There's dharana, which is concentration, which moves you into meditation. They're all just as important.
Yeah.
And then there's the yamas and niyamas, which are, you know, philosophies to live by. Do no harm to others and yourself, all those sorts of things.
Right.
So important, and they've just kind of been
Pushed aside for you'll get a bit stronger and you'll look a bit leaner, sort of,
yeah,
or something.
yeah, you'll have this sculptured body that can go into all sorts of funky shapes. It's like, and the whole idea behind the asana limb, because it's a bit of a tree,
Yeah.
the whole idea behind the asana limb is to prepare your body and your mind so it flushes energy, prepares your body in strength and flexibility to be able to sit like this and cross-legged,
Yeah.
and arrive
Wow.
into the state of meditation with, and that's the whole purpose of asana. Nothing to do with shaping the body or being this or that or
And it's really a bit, and it's being that really in the presence, in the present
yeah,
moment, isn't it? Not
yeah,
getting somewhere with it. Yeah.
not getting somewhere with it, being in the body, and it's you know, moving with energy, feeling into energy, feeling into your breath with movement, the mindful practice. It's
Yeah.
really different to a lot of the yoga out there.
Out there.
Yeah.
So do you call your yoga, I know you call it you call yourself the adaptive yogi, but is your yoga a type of yoga? Does it
Uh,
even matter?
Doesn't matter too much, but I am under the Hatha yoga umbrella, so that's my type of yoga. So
Okay.
that's kind of an umbrella of holistic yoga. So
Yep.
hard to imagine that yoga can't be holistic, but after what we've just talked about, you can
Oh, it
see
can be.
not. Yeah, so that's the holistic, and that's it's a really traditional yoga. So
Yep.
off Hatha yoga stemmed Iyengar and Vinyasa and Ashtanga and all those
Okay.
ones you hear about. They've kind of gone and go, oh, I'm going to do this style and do this.
Take that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
they've
yeah.
got their great, you know, things about them. But
Yes.
Hatha kind of covers them all. So if you come to a Hatha
Oh, okay.
class, you do a bit of Vinyasa flow, do a bit of Yin, you do a little bit of Ashtanga.
Okay. So, yeah,
Yeah,
yep,
so it's an overall general, yeah, and a lot of focus on breathing, meditation.
yep,
And then within that, I have specific classes. So I do have a specific adaptive class that's really suitable for people with, you know, extra conditions than the normal creaks and groans,
yep,
arthritis, spinal cord injuries, MS,
yep,
all those sorts of things. So I do kind of specialize the classes so people feel they're in a sort of a similar
yep,
group.
yep.
And I have a Curvylicious class, which is awesome.
Oh, I love it. So I
Yeah,
was going to ask you about that. I was going to say, do you have a class for people who just, because of the size or shape of their body, they just feel like they're unwelcome at,
yeah,
at
totally. And that's another thing. A lady said the other day when she found me, she's just local. She goes, "Oh my God, at last I've found somewhere I can come back to yoga. I've gone off it, like you were saying, gone off it, and at last I don't feel like my body's wrong in a yoga class." Oh, that is so sad. But yeah, you found me.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
know, and it's such I mean, it's such a travesty of our culture
yeah,
where there's this kind of social campaign that people who are bigger should be exercising, should be going to gyms, should be doing yoga, should be moving, and then making people who live in bodies like that completely unwelcome.
Yes, I
It's
know.
real. And
Yeah,
then like it's their, yeah, I know. I could start a rave about
I
that. I'm
know.
not going to,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
get
another unsavory part of the,
unsavory. Oh, totally. So yeah, I'd love to create that space and welcome people and be representative of it.
yeah,
You just don't have that much out there, and because of lockdown now, it's also on Zoom, which is awesome. So I've got ladies from around the country joining in the comfort of their own home, so they
fantastic.
feel even more comfortable in a way doing it like that. Just
Yeah.
yeah, and in a way that's really nice for them as well. And they don't have to have their video on. It is nice for the connection, but you can come and leave it off and just not be seen until you feel comfortable. It,
That's so beautiful.
yeah,
That's so beautiful. And I can imagine, like I can see myself if I was just starting with new adaptions and trying to figure them out, it would be comfortable to be at home and not having to
yeah,
try and, you know,
yes,
figure that out and be aware of myself at the same
yes,
time. Because
that's right.
we can't, we're never going to get rid of that kind of social awareness we have.
No, no, and that
Yeah.
is a big practice, and I think I had to learn that over the years of one of my teachers used to say, which is awesome, you take your shoes off at the door, but also leave your ego at the door,
So good.
which was really cool. And especially for me, I've been in this class full of, skinny, lithe.
Mm.
I shouldn't say skinny. I don't really like that descriptor word, but these able bodies, and I'd be having to do my adaptation lying on the floor, but I just got over myself and did it. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so
And
there,
and what a great, and I know, and I remember this from yoga too, is like that invitation to take what you learn in the practice into your life,
yes,
as if somehow the practice isn't your life, but
yeah,
but 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 that makes sense in terms of it's really good to have a practice where you can you can leave your ego at any door,
yes,
and practicing that in a yoga class is a fantastic
yeah,
place to do it.
fantastic place. And unfortunately, from what we've just talked about, you do have to be reminded to do that. You shouldn't have to be, but
No, but it's, we are human, aren't
yeah,
we?
and that, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. The group thing, and
yeah,
it is really hard for some people. Like I've had people exactly your scenario, so I'm like, yes, that's fine. I can adapt for you. Come on, and they're like, no, they just can't face being the odd one out in the class. Which I totally understand. It's a journey. It takes time. So I just try and ease that with encouragement
yeah,
and try not to single them out and that sort of thing. But it,
absolutely.
it is challenging.
It is challenging, and in the way that we all have those moments where we feel like, though we talked about it right at the start of this interview, we have those moments where, we internalize something, someone says something, and
Yeah.
then we create the barrier ourselves,
Yes.
like, oh, that must be the truth, I'm not, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And if we've created that scenario around, we've stood out and it's gone really bad for us, and we're like, never putting myself in that situation again,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
can really affect our um
Absolutely. Experience with it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I can totally get that. I can,
Yeah.
yeah, and which makes the doing it online or on Zoom even better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
can then use
You've
that as
got,
an
you've
opportunity
got
to,
quite in that vibe, and everyone's kind of doing their own thing, so they're not really looking at you. It's just this little box on the screen.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And you don't feel you, even if people can see you on the screen, you don't feel the eyes of you on,
No,
literally, in
no,
your living room.
no. It's
Yeah,
really good, yeah. And the Curvylicious classes that I do, I give way more emphasis on body positivity.
cool,
We start with a body gratitude meditation all the time, and I quite often finish
awesome.
with one with a deep relaxation. And all through the class, things like um, when you come and do a forward fold and you've got some luxurious luggage, which is a beautiful terminology. I learned that off Diane Bondi. She's awesome, this Canadian rock star yogi. Get your luxurious luggage out of the way. You can feel your tummy on your thigh when you bend forward, or your
Yes.
boobs might get in the way. And we talk about that. I say it, I name it, and
Beautiful. Beautiful.
lightheartedly, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
you
that's
never hear that
so.
in yoga class.
No, yeah, like I was just sitting there thinking, the number of times I've been in a yoga class and leaning forward and
Yes.
thinking, you're not speaking to a lot of people in this class
Mm.
who that leaning forward, they've got to reorganize themselves.
Yes. And a lot of those people can just lean forward and fold their bodies like that. Not if there's things in the way
Not
or,
if there's physical barriers that are going
yeah,
to make
yeah.
that really, really difficult.
Yeah, and you end
Yeah.
up running into yourself. So there's ways to, teach for different body shapes like that. You take space and you make space for your body, like it's worthy of it. Not like,
That.
oh, I'm doing this wrong, and you start to get super angry. And I know that because I've done it for years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
every time we're in a forward fold, I remind them I'm saying himsa, which is one of the niyamas, the 8 limbs,
Yeah.
kindness, do
Yeah.
no harm to yourself and others. So think about your mental chatter. What are you saying right now to your tummy?
Oh, see, that is,
Yeah,
and
just
that's, yeah, because
script and go,
it's,
hey, thanks, you're here.
oh,
Awesome.
and it's because it goes right back to what we talked about before earlier as well, that whole, you don't want to be in a yoga class going, oh, something's wrong with my tummy because I
No,
can't make that move and I need to
no.
fix that. I'm
Yes,
going to, and then you start planning in your mind, I'll do the na na na, and then
you get
I'll,
better and
and da da da, and the, yeah, and that's not yoga, is it? Actually,
no, no. And
you
I've been
call
through
it
a lot
something
of
else, but it's,
spent
yeah,
years in yoga classes in the past because of that. Oh, I just can't do this. I'm wrong, and my body's
yeah.
not good enough. And yeah, thankfully I've sort of moved through that, and it's
And you're making the space for so many other people,
yeah. And
which
I,
is
I
just
feel passionate
tremendous.
about that because it would have been easy to run from that.
Oh, so easy.
And yoga's not for me.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
what people say. And look, it's not for everyone, but um, you know, it's a place where you really meet yourself. So
yeah.
it's a beautiful place to break through those sorts of things in a gentle way if you've given the right guidance. And I kind of had to come up with a lot of it myself, so that's why I'm
That's why you've got this
passionate.
fire that we can
Yeah,
feel.
yeah,
So where can we find you, Jenny? I know we can find you at the Adaptive Yogi Facebook page, but is there a website and is there a class we can come to and
yeah, yeah,
tell
yeah.
us about that?
So my website is the Adaptive Yogi, so that's pretty easy to
Okay.
find.
Yeah.
And I think the link's on my Facebook page as well. And then on the website is my classes, and it's listed whether they're in Zoom or on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, most of them are
Yeah.
both now at the moment because of our ins and outs from lockdowns. I've pretty
Yep.
much Zoomed everything.
Yep.
And then when we're in person, I've got a really cozy little studio. So the 2 meter rule, I can only fit three. So I'm doing a mixture of
Okay.
both. So yeah, I've got a one Curvylicious at the moment, and I'm definitely going to do another one soon. And I'm actually going to be launching a Curvylicious
Oh.
course soon, which is going to be awesome.
Oh,
So we'll do a
fantastic.
bit more interaction and a bit of jiggling. And, yeah.
So
I have
when
Monday,
you
Wednesday,
so
Friday a meditation.
yes, I was
There you
just
go.
sorry I interrupted you just when you were saying you had your meditation, but can you post in the Body Confidence Club details to when you launch that? Because I
Oh,
think that
sure,
would
if that's
be, yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, that would be tremendous. I'd really appreciate that and
that's
help people
great.
find you and help people
Yeah.
find your classes.
Yeah, nice. It's going to be really nice. It's going to be a small group. I've been really dreaming this up for a long time, so I'm going to launch it small and start so
Yeah.
we've got connection.
Yep.
And it's going to be sort of delving into some gentle, curvilicious yoga, but also some connection, some talking, some
Cool.
journaling, some sharing. Yeah, it's going to be lovely. And
Oh,
one of my other sort of yoga specialties is a practice called Yoga Nidra, which is a guided relaxation. It's just divine. So there'll always be one of those.
Oh, so you've got me completely inspired to get back into yoga.
Oh,
Yeah.
yay.
So this is perfect timing. So
Awesome.
we can talk about that more offline, but I just want to say thank you so much for
Yay.
being here, for bringing your energy, for the work you do in the world. As
Mm.
you know, I think what you do is so needed and so valuable and so important. And I'm just so delighted that you are a human being and you're in my orbit.
Yay, I know, I know. When I saw you in my orbit, I'm like, yes,
I know.
what a gravity pull.
So great. So
Yeah.
great. All right, my dear. So I'm gonna shut this off, which will actually mean that it shuts down our Zoom conversation.
Okay, yeah.
So when that happens, I'm just going to call you quickly back on Zoom.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jenny. So lovely to talk to you. Bye.
Bye.